of people being in mental, chemical, spiritual, economic warfare for 400 years, 400 plus now. In the 80s and 90s is just a byproduct of the continuation of white supremacy efforts to keep the black body down, to keep the black mind down, to keep the black spirit down, to keep us unintelligent, uneducated, you understand me, segregated from our own selves. So no, not 1619, we go back to 1555 at the true arrival and the making of the slave, with the hidden 64 years that it took to make the slave. And that making of a slave was the breaking of the relationship between the black woman and the black man in America. But because before they could make you a slave, they not gonna put the black man and woman on the same field. Hell no, not before they can destroy the masculine and the feminine culture that you all have. Then they put you there to destroy your identity, your sense of self, your pride. You understand me? Your masculinity. They had to get the science down on how to make a slave. And in 1555, once they had the science down, it was ready to set up the operation known as slavery, chattel slavery. So you got to know our true story. You can go check the history books. Know this. The true story. Do your own research. So that's why relationships and the science of relationships is so important. It is the very science of mating. And that's the one science Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that they kept away from us. Out of the three sciences, the science of business, science of mating, the science of warfare. So they're not going to teach you how to pick the right partner. They're not going to teach you the understanding of how to cultivate those type of relationships that build industries. They're not going to teach you how to pick the person out, how to court the right woman. They're not going to teach you that the independent movement goes against every family movement. They're not going to teach you those relationship building sciences. They ain't going to teach you no mating sciences. But you're talking about other people around the world who have sciences that go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years on this type of man should be with this type of woman so that this family is eating for eternity and eternity. You understand me? It's about what are y'all doing to push that last name of yours? Yes. What industry is your relationship producing? What product is your relationship producing? You understand me? What change in the world is your relationship producing? What value is your relationship producing? What did your relationship produce?
I got a quick question. So it's science of business. You said welfare, and what's the last one? Not welfare. What's the word you said? Start with a W.
Warfare.
Warfare.
Warfare. They won't teach you the strategies of war. No, the strategies of war, they had never set up their very enemy and teach them and equip them with the tools to fight back. Why would I do that? So you have to understand, if we allowed another man to create our curriculum and our educational system, and he's going to create that educational system based on his thinking that you are 3/5 of a human being, right? Mm-hmm. And not only is that, he's such a wicked man that he's creating his system so that even his own people can work for him. Not so that these young boys and girls can grow up and take over institutions and factories. No, I need y'all to be the greatest worker. I need what's known as workforce, what's known as human capital. So I create my birth certificate, I create my social security, I put bond as backed by the energy, blood, and sweat of the people who will work as commodity or what's considered to be this great. Y'all are part, you livestock for the workers of America. That's all. And the brilliant minds, we need you working for our power so you can continue the evolution of our people, not your people. I don't ever want you to have too much cultural identity because then you separate yourself. You start saying that I'm going to take all of my thoughts, ideas, resources. I'm going to start building families for the good of my separate culture that I identify with.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, to disconnect from your own culture so we can use you for ours. Because if I want power, I think power, I would never set you up to take power from me. That's my whole goal, is to have power over how I need for the next 100 years. And anything that I must do, I will do in order to make power. And the separation of the black man and woman. Because if you take that beautiful black woman and all her mind, all her glory, all her spirit, powerful black man with all his might and all his will and all his godliness, and you pair them together in a union of trust and relationships, it ain't a planet we can't take over. You talking about America? America don't stand a chance.
And I know that.
A block, a city, a state, a company, man, just think about it. If black men and women got along beautifully, fantastically, lovingly, and we supported each other on every level, what does that look like for our future? Man, we got the greatest resources within each other, because we have been the greatest resources of America. Yet we have never had that relationship with ownership, rulership over ourselves. So once you sit down and you can imagine what it's like if we got together, if black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs and educated people in America, imagine what that looks like. If that education and that monetary value is utilized for the building of the culture, and she's working with an equally yoked black man, what does that look like? I'm not talking about all these brothers with brothers and sisters with niggas and brothers with a million. No, I'm talking about that black man with that black woman. Power, force on this planet Earth that can get in between. It ain't a single person that's here on this live that would listen to these words that I'm speaking that could deny this to be the truth, because it ain't another couple on the planet Earth that's a better power couple than us. But the very cells of our body produce human beings, produce thought. Talk to me, man. When you are thinking emotionally, you're not thinking at all. That's feeling. That's one thing you have to understand. It's a difference between thinking and feeling. Thinking and logic is based on mathematics, mathematical understanding, comprehension. You understand me? That's thinking with purpose at all times and reason. But a lot of people talk about what they feel and they think they're thinking and they're not. They are observing their very feelings and they're moving off their feelings, because human beings are more driven by what they feel than what they think. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, rise above emotions into the thinking of a God. He didn't say rise above emotions into the thinking of a man. And that's important to understand as well. Is this what I'm feeling or this what I'm thinking? Because people often be like, you know what I feel about this. Whoa. We're not dealing with your feelings, because you might not understand your own feelings. Your gut might be off, because most people are not even in tune with themselves to understand. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about moving with a longitude of thought. God does nothing emotional. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, God is not an emotional God. He didn't just make bees and flowers from emotion. They both have a reason.
A purpose.
He didn't just put beautiful trees out there because it was felt good to look at. They have a reason. They're going to oxygenate the atmosphere. We breathe that in. They're going to change that carbon dioxide into oxygen so that human beings can have life. They didn't just put the sun up there because it looked good and it shine. You go get vitamin D from the sun. It's going to help program your brain and your body through circadian rhythm. It's
Mm-hmm.
put algae in the ocean. No, every single thing on earth that is made naturally from what we can source from, be made from God, has a reason. Nothing in nature is made. So when a emotional decision, he's not thinking like a God. You know what I'm talking about? So when you want to discern whether you're thinking emotional or logical, stop and observe yourself. This is what I'm feeling, or what's the mathematics on this? And the mathematics is always knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because I can feel like I love you, but damn, I got too many reasons to leave you. I got too many reasons, and those reasons ain't lined up with my purpose. I got to do the math. I got to do the math. Damn, I don't want to let this go. Let me do the math. You know, I got to tell her this ain't going to work. Emotions go hit me. Damn, that ain't going to feel good. But if I don't, let me do the math on it. All right, we're going to talk about it. Most likely this going to be the outcome. But then she already told me her program based on her faith and belief what she won't change. This was, am I willing to do this? If I'm not willing to do this, then it's going to go back to that. Start adding it all up. He start calculating it. He start calculating it.
Mm-hmm.
And if those calculations don't come back to the proper reasoning to stay and to see alignment so where he can calculate that future, then that man got to go. He can't stay because of emotions. It got to be solid reasoning. Got to do the math at all times.